Сайн байцгаана уу? Khishge Bagsh байна. I'm Khishge from Nomiin Ger. Today we're going to learn a grammar point that we got many requests for, which is conditional. Finally, we get to do it. So let's get started. So here's how to do the simplest conditional sentences in Mongolian. In order to create the conditional sentences, as you probably guessed, we just need to add the suffix. The conditional suffix is val or bal or the word bol. We just need to add these to the dependent clause of a sentence. What is a clause? You probably already know a clause is a part of a complex sentence. Just remember that there are two clauses in conditional sentence: main clause and the dependent clause. For example, I will give you two simple sentences. Then we will combine them into a complex sentence. It will have a main clause and the dependent clause. За. Би ядарна, I will be tired. Би унтна, I will sleep. So think about how we would combine these. Which of these happens the first and causes the other to happen? Yes, of course, if I'm tired, I will sleep. In Mongolian, it will be би ядарвал унтна. So which clause gets the suffix here? The dependent clause. Just to remind you, we know it's a dependent clause because it cannot exist on its own. You can't say, if I'm tired. That's not a full sentence. You need the main clause, I will sleep. It's not too complicated. Here are a couple of more examples. Бороо их орвол би гадаа гарахгүй. If it rains a lot, I won't go outside. And the next one. Би дэлгүүр явна. Би чамд хэлье. I will go to the store. I'll let you know. So which part get the suffix? Just think logically for a second. Yep. Би дэлгүүр явбал чамд хэлье. If I go to the store, I'll let you know. The other way around wouldn't really make sense. The reason I put the second sentence's subject be in parentheses is that it's the same person doing both actions. You do not have to mention the subject twice. That would be redundant. Also, notice that the dependent clause, the one with the val suffix, is always before the main clause in Mongolian. You'll never say би унтдаг ядарвал unless it's a poem or rap or something. Also, this order is the same as in our other video about when, while. I'll put the link to that video in the description below. So now let's see some more examples. Just notice that all these have the same subject. Let's go to this slide.
Би өлсвөл хоол захиална. Та миний дэвтрийг олбол надад хэлээрэй. Чи эрт ирвэл хоол хийгээрэй. Джон гэрээсээ орой гарвал такси барьдаг. Та нар энэ замаар явбал хурдан очино. Бид нар ажлаа эрт дуусгавал парк явна.
So now you have the general idea of how the conditional suffix works. Let's go into some details. First, what's the difference between val and bal? We'll talk about bal in a bit. If the verb stem ends with ve, im, il, the bal is added. For the others, val is added. Just a reminder is that this form means just the four forms of each suffix according to the Mongolian vowel harmony. When the verb stem has a, o, ya, you add val and bal, as in garval, yabal, oval. When the verb stem has e, I, u, ye, you add vel and bil, as in hilbil, nimbil, үзвэл. For o, ya, it is бол and бол, as in orwol and olbol. And for o, you add vul and bul, as in ugvul and hubbul. Also, I want to mention that some sentences could be translated into English as when instead of if. These would be for conditionals regarding something that happens frequently, generally using the present simple. For example, би ядардаг, би унтдаг. I'm tired, I sleep. With the conditional, it would be би ядарвал, унтдаг. When I'm tired, I sleep. So far, we've learned the sentences with the same subjects. That means the dependent clause and the main clause, the subject, are the same. Now let's see how it works when there are two different subjects. Two different people are doing two actions. You might find it a bit complicated because we may need to use the accusative case. If you don't know what that is, see our video on cases. Just click on the link on the description below. Even if you don't know that, you can still continue watching, no problem. So here's the first example with the two people doing two actions. If John comes to Mongolia, I will see him. This sentence has two subjects, I and John. This would be translated in Mongolian, John-ыг Монголд ирвэл би Johnтэй уулзна. Notice that here the main clause subject I takes no suffix, but the dependent clause's subject John takes the accusative case ig. Again, that the dependent clause is a part of the complex sentence that cannot exist on its own as a complete sentence, which in this example is if John comes to Mongolia. Let's look at a couple more examples. Chi явна, би бас явна. It would be чамайг явбал, би бас явна. If you go, I will go as well. Чамайг is the accusative form of the pronoun chi. Next, та нарыг гэртээ байвал бид нар очие. If you guys are home, we will come. So note the rule here. The dependent clause subject takes the accusative case if the two clauses have different subjects. So in that example, the two subjects are what? Yes, та нар and бид нар. And which took the accusative case? Та нар, because it's the dependent clause subject. It became та нарыг. You might be thinking, what about the example you mentioned earlier with бороо? Бороо их орвол би гадаа гарахгүй. If it rains a lot, I won't go outside. This sentence has two different subjects, right? So why doesn't бороо take the accusative? It's the subject of the dependent clause, right? Khishge Bagsh, you just said that when there are two subjects for two clauses, the dependent clause subject takes the accusative case? Well, usually yes. However, if the subject of the dependent clause is a thing that doesn't have a specifying word like in, ter, or word with the genitive case attached to it, then the subject normally does not take the accusative case. What I mean by specifying word is something like in otas. This is specific phone versus otas, just a phone, any phone. Like in this example, in утсыг эвдэрвэл би шинэ утас авна. If this phone breaks, I will get a new one. The word in specifies which phone is it, this phone, and thus it takes the accusative case. So with that in mind, here are a couple of examples that have two subjects of dependent clauses, outside and work, that do not take the accusative case. Гадаа гоё байвал би парк явна. If it's nice outside, I will go to the park. Ажил эрт дуусвал би чам руу залгая. If work finishes early, I will call you. Now let's go to this slide for more examples with two different subjects.
Намайг бэлэг өгвөл сараа их баярлдаг. Таныг дэлгүүр явбал би хамт явъя. Джоныг сэрвэл надад хэлээрэй. Энэ бороог зогсвол би гэрээс гарна. Хөдөө гоё байвал би дахиад хэд хононо.
You may have noticed that all those sentences were positive. Also, they were all mostly things that happens frequently or in the future. As in, if something happens, something else will happen, or when this happens, this usually happens. But what about if something doesn't happen? This is where the word bol comes in. I told you we will talk about it in a bit. Bol is used for a variety of situations. Just remember, it is not a suffix. It's separate. It's not added to the end of a word. Listen closely. Bol is used after the negative form. It is used after all other tenses except for future tense. And it is also used after adjectives, nouns, and modal verbs as well. That's a lot of usage of bol, but it will make a lot of sense once you see the examples. Би эрт унтахгүй бол маргааш ядарна. If I don't go to bed early, I will be tired tomorrow. That was negative. That's why we used bol. Бороо орохгүй бол бид нар гадаа тоглоно. If it doesn't rain, we will play outside. Таныг явахгүй бол би явъя. If you don't go, I'll go. Мах үнэтэй бол би мах авахгүй. If meat is expensive, I won't buy it. Why did we add bol here? It is because үнэтэй is an adjective and we add bol after adjective, as I said earlier. Энийг гоё кино бол үзье. If this is a good movie, let's watch it. Кино is a noun, so we add bol. Та завтай бол манайд ирээрэй. If you are free, come to my house. Завтай is an adjective, so we add bol. Чамд ном хэрэгтэй бол надаас аваарай. If you need books, you can get them from me. So what part of the speech is хэрэгтэй? It's a modal verb. That is why we use bol. Чамайг гитар тоглодог бол би чамд нэг ном өгье. If you play guitar, I will give you a book. Wait, this isn't a negative sentence. And тоглодог is a verb, not an adjective or something else. So why add bol? You guys know, right? It's because, as I said, bol is used after all other tenses except for future tense. Since тоглодог is present tense, we add bol. Here are a few more examples in the slide. You can think about why we add bol, not the suffix wal or bal.
Би өглөө кофе уухгүй бол ажлаа хийж чадахгүй. Чамайг кинонд дуртай бол хоёулаа кино үзье. Джоныг мах иддэггүй бол би ногоотоо хуушуур хийн. Гэрийн даалгавар амархан бол би хурдан дуусгаж чадна. Та багш бол энийг мэдэх байх.
Now let's review what we learned. Number 1. In order to make a conditional sentence, you need either the suffix that has two forms, wal, bal, or you add bol. Bal is added to the verb stem that ends with ve, im, il. Wal is for the rest of the verbs, and bol is written separately. Number 2. The word bol is used for negative forms, adjectives, nouns, and all the other tenses except for the future tense. Number 3. When the sentence has different subjects, the dependent clause subject often take the accusative case. Now, Here's your homework. These 5 sentences need to have either was, bas, or bos added to them. Don't worry about the spelling of the suffixes. Just let me know if you would add either was, bas, or bos. So that's it for now. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully it will help. I think it will. Maybe this is a lot to take in at first, but once you start using this grammar, I'm sure you will become comfortable with it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. By the way, how would you say that last sentence in Mongolian? Let me know in the comments. I'm Khishge from Nomiin Ger. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and also visit our website. Баярлалаа. Баяртай. Дараа уулзъя. See you in the next video.